How's it going, guys? Welcome to When Words Fail, Music Speaks. My name is Blake. I'm here with James Cox. Also, today we have a very special guest. We are excited to talk to Vivienne Wilder. Vivienne, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got a little bio here. I believe this is taken from your website, if I'm not mistaken. And we're just going to introduce the folks to you a little bit. So Regina born and Toronto-based Vivienne Wilder is a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, painter, and composer. Her music has been described as lit punk. I love that. Folk noir and anti-genre. Wilder is her own constellation of sound, style, and influence. Her songs whisper and wail intimately and mythically, and are subtly designed as her melodies seem gifted by a doleful wind. Very well put.
It's not my words, I swear.
Well, whoever wrote that.
Perfect.
That was very well written. Her tone is wry and adorned with an endearing, world-weary disinterest, like her punk rock half-sister. She's enviably devoid of fist-clenching sentimentality. Hers are morally ambiguous love songs for the intrepid and curious. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Vivienne Wilder to the show.
Nice. Yay! How are you doing? You doing all right today?
What's that?
I said, are you doing okay today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. How about you?
Good.
Oh, whoever wrote your bio must be like a mad genius, because there's some words in there that I do not understand.
Yeah, barely myself.
No.
It's a good writer who wrote that.
Yeah.
We've all got like a dictionary up under our desk.
Yeah, like what does this word mean? Yeah, but it's all good. I mean, it sounds perfectly. I mean, because when you say anti-genre, like what kind of genre would you classify yourself in?
Well, I guess a little bit of everything sometimes. Okay. I think that's why a lot of artists have a hard time categorizing themselves, because when you're so close to your own music, it's like your own kids, you don't see them how everyone else does. So sometimes it's helpful to get someone from the outside to tell you what the heck you're doing,
right.
Barring unless you're just doing straight up country or rock and roll or you're hip hop or something. But if you're mixing things up, which I try to, and I don't even try to, it just happens because I have a lot of different influences. It's hard to kind of put it into like one or two words what exactly you are. Which gets you into trouble sometimes when you're trying to like upload your music onto iTunes or on Spotify, because it wants to categorize you, right?
Right. Sure. Yeah. Because I was interviewing a musician last year sometime, and he's like, "Well, you can call my music everything and the kitchen sink." I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
And, which is kind of like what you are, right? Because you play everything under the sun too.
I try to, or like a good handful of things anyway.
Yeah, it's good to not kind of trap yourself in one genre.
Totally.
Because I don't know, it seems like when you hear about artists that do that, they eventually get sick of playing certain songs, because it only appeals to a certain crowd. Therefore, they're the only ones that come out to their shows. Therefore, they're the only ones that want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just like this nasty circle, and they either just write off music completely and kind of throw it away and kind of give up what they once loved, what they once loved, and so it's cool to keep yourself open to new ideas, I guess.
Yeah. You got to keep it interesting for yourself, because then you're going to write better music, rather than it just being a job. It's like, well, I guess got to sit down and write a rockin', pop single, whatever, you can't really think like that. I don't think. Maybe some people can. Most of the songwriters that I know don't think that way.
Yeah.
You just kind of sit down and whatever comes out, comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're all in different moods as well. You may be more angsty one day. You get inspired by some kind of crappy experience you had, and then you crank out this tune, and it ends up being something else that someone else can relate to. And then maybe you're more happy and you're like, oh, cool, I had a great day, or I fell in love, or whatever, and you write a more happy song. And then, then you might just get inspired to write a fantasy rock opera, and you
exactly.
Pull one of those. So, exactly. I told James, like, before we got started, I normally don't sit on interviews because I just got my setup at home, and I'm usually working or I'm busy or whatever. But he said he had an interview lined up for tonight, so I hopped on Spotify to listen to your stuff. And I don't, know how you feel about this artist, but I wanted to say, I think your voice sounds a lot like Casey Musgraves. I like Casey Musgraves' voice.
It's actually, I'll take that as a huge compliment. Okay. I didn't really know who she was until this year. Okay. Somehow I managed to avoid that, but I was just checking her out because I think she had like a big article in Rolling Stone recently, and I was like, she seems like a pretty cool chick.
Yeah,
I'm down with her.
Yeah.
So could you tell us, like, how was music part of your life growing up, or like could you remember your own like your first music memory?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in a music household. My father played. He's just retired, but he played bass professionally in an orchestra. And my mom was a singer and did like a lot of theater and stuff when she was younger, and continues to sing for fun. So my siblings and I all got kind of like pushed into starting piano and violin and stuff like that when we were really little. So my siblings and I all ended up, growing up to be musicians in some capacity or other. Yeah. So it's my earliest memories. Like, I don't even know. It's just always been there. I couldn't like give you a defining moment of like, this was the second that I first did it or something.
So your first musical instrument you played was the piano?
I think technically violin.
Oh,
and then I started taking lessons. But when there's a piano in the house, and little kids just want to play it, so I probably was playing piano as soon as I could stand.
Right.
So I'm told.
Okay. So what's your preferred instrument that you really gravitate yourself towards?
I actually really like singing. And I'm a late bloomer coming into singing. I didn't really start singing until my early 20s. I was always an instrumentalist before that, and then I started writing songs and singing and stuff in my early 20s because I was playing bass for a lot of different bands and a lot of different singer-songwriters, touring with them, doing that thing. And then I sort of just picked up the bug of wanting to also be singing and writing songs. So I started doing that, and that sort of ended up being my passion.
Right.
As a sort of surprisingly, I wasn't expecting that. I thought I was just going to be an instrumentalist, you know.
So when you were writing songs, did that come natural to you, or like did you have to actually learn how to write songs?
I think because like when you've accompanied so many people, and like because at that point I had been already playing music for like over like almost 20 years, and professionally for 10. You learn a lot of, like, when you're learning a lot of songs and you're playing a lot of songs and you're listening to a lot of songs, you tend to like figure out, like, your brain just analyzes how it's like, okay, there's a verse, there's a chorus, there's like all these forms that sort of are just engraved in your brain. And then, and you imitate people that you like. And you try not to sound like people you don't like. That's about it.
True, man. Gravitate towards what you like, because everybody does like everything, And I just say to people, man, dig what you dig, because there's gonna be a lot of people who don't like what you like, but you're like, why not? This is good. Yeah.
Totally.
So as you were growing up, did you ever have motivation to do anything besides music? Like, did you have any dreams or aspirations to be like a doctor or anything like that? Or was it just kind of in your head, like, music is my life?
No, I think I went through lots of different phases. Also in high school, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to go to art school because I don't know. But I wanted to be a veterinarian. That was a big one.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I love animals and I wanted to help them. But I think it's maybe a bit late for me to do that now. But
you never know.
You never know.
You do keep doing what you're doing though, because we're loving the tunes for
sure.
Yeah. So going back to what you mentioned with singing, how long did it take you? Did you develop your vocal on your own, or did you take classes or like lessons?
I took a few lessons, and like in person with like a couple different people, but nothing too. I did it like not for long periods of time, just like a few lessons, and then a few years into it, I discovered like YouTube vocal warm-ups and stuff, and that was really awesome because that was all free, and they're just amazing. You know, YouTube is amazing; you can learn anything on it. So I highly recommend that to anyone who's wanting to work on their vocal technique or just learn how to power up their singing. Just check out YouTube videos because it's like there's a billion options.
Yeah.
For real. Like, so I've been wanting to learn how to play guitar. These are my wife's. So I have no idea how to play. I have a guitar. I took lessons briefly from a friend of mine who taught here in town. But I can only play a handful of chords. I can kind of pick around a little bit and figure out some things, but lately I've been wanting to. Drums is my thing. I can play drums. I've played drums since I was 10, but I don't have anywhere to play drums right now, except for at church. So at my house, I have a shed. It's not ready yet. There's no drums in there. So but I want to do something musically. So I thought about hopping on YouTube, taking lessons, like just sitting in the living room. And because my wife offered, but she's also like, I don't know how to teach you. I can only like say, this is how it's done.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw how many videos there are for guitar lessons, basic guitar lessons, how to play certain chords, how to play power chords, how to, whatever. And it's really cool. I think that YouTube is so helpful in so many ways, especially to musicians these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been, in the last year, I've started focusing more on YouTube as like a platform to, release stuff in, because I had always kind of, it was an afterthought. It was like, well, I guess I got to make a video because I got an album. So I'd put it up and be like, I just had a few things on my channel, but this last year I started doing a weekly live stream on it. And I started like over the summer, I was releasing a lyric video every week, and just like, and it's great because it actually does reward you for that. I feel like the numbers for me have gone up substantially from where they were at the beginning of the pandemic, just because, and I've met some cool people through it who found me through that, like Trailer Park Boys video that Cody found me too. And, so that's neat. It's kind of an unexpected thing, but
you mentioned the Trailer Park Boys, so did they request for people to send in their music, or like how did you
they have a little series called Mailbag on there. They have this thing called SwearNet, which is like their it's like their personal network where all of their stuff is posted, and they have lots of original content on there, and you can subscribe to it. So I was subscribed to it, and I noticed they had this mailbag thing, and I was like, oh, this is so cool, because they video themselves opening things that real fans send them in the mail.
Right.
So I hatched up this little scheme to send them music that they'd actually be able to play like physically on the show, because it was like a little Walkman that had a built-in speaker.
Yes, which is very rare for them to come by now.
And it was pink too, so it was really cute.
Right, great, yeah. So I guess they're like, "What is this? Holy crap! This is So,
so that was like a crazy, weird dream come true to watch that. Right. I've been a huge fan for years.
Yeah. So after you did that, did you start to get more requests coming from fans and and the businesses wanted to book you, or how did that?
Well, not so much this year because there's no gigs. But you know, like I've always been a little bit of like on the fence about connecting online and like, you know, being careful about posting too much on social media and you know, being a little bit of a curmudgeon about that sometimes, but you can't do that in this last year. It's like digital or nothing. So it's been nice to see how, you know, people have reached out and connected, you know, in this different fashion this year. So it's been cool. And the timing for that video was perfect too, because I was like right before, that was like in March. So it was like the last thing. And then not a lot of people saw the video for like, you know, almost 8 months. And then suddenly I think Trailer Park Boys released like a new season. So more people were looking them up on YouTube. And then I got thousands of views on this video.
Nice. Yeah.
In like a very short amount of time. And then I got lots of feedback from people who then checked out some of my music. So
nice.
It was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome.
So as an admirer of the punk genre, why did that genre speak to you more so than, say, some other genres out there?
I think it comes down to the live performance part of it, because it's like the catharsis and the freedom that comes with that kind of music, where it's okay to like express anger and you know, frustration or like just whatever intense feings. And for me, maybe, you know, I got into punk when I was in high school, and started to, you know, like dress, you know, tough and act tough, which was very, you know, you go to punk shows and do that whole thing. So that part of my life I never completely grew out of it, I guess. I have grown up slightly, but that's definitely always been part of my music once I started writing, and especially the live performance part, because I also like doing a lot of improv with the music. I have an awesome band that they're all, you know, really into just like doing random stuff and a really high energy and fun. So yeah.
So who would you consider your favorite punk band?
Oh gosh. I think I'd have to say like, it's tough, but probably the Slits were like a really, really important one for me, especially as a female.
Right.
Because it's like the all female band, and like just the reason I found them, because like, you know, the town I grew up in, it's in the middle of nowhere in the middle of Canada, prairie town, and this would have been right around when like we got internet, and then I was able to discover a lot of music in my teens because of that. So that was like a godsend, because it was like, wow, who are these freaks? And they were like from the 80s, you know, before I was born, and you know, so that blew my mind. And I still love them.
Well, I could tell you. Well, I think that Blake right here, and I have the same answer. Ours is the Misfits, but I think he loves. I think he loves Blink-182 a little bit more.
Misfits are on now, actually.
Awesome. It's either or the Misfits or else. So it's like, okay, well, you know.
Yeah. When I started playing drums, Travis Barker was a huge influence. And so anything he touched, I was just amazed by, you know. So the Blink stuff, the Boxcar Racer, the Transplants, all that. And then like it splits off from there, because, you know, like I got into the Transplants first before I got into Rancid, you know, and I was like, oh no, Tim Armstrong, are you kidding me? That's amazing. And dude. And, you know, and then Tony Hawk video games came out. Like, opened my eyes to so much more. And I've been going back through Spotify and finding all these playlists from old Tony Hawk games, and just like going through and liking all these songs that I haven't heard.
I know, and when you hear them, it just takes you right back, right?
Similar times, you know?
To a very, very similar time where we can go outdoors, right?
Yeah.
So every Saturday you have a virtual concert on your YouTube channel.
On Fridays. Friday.
Or was that because I thought you did it on Saturdays, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's Fridays. It's every Friday at 4:20 Eastern.
Okay, thanks for correcting me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So do you pick the songs for that day, or do you play whatever is in your mind at this current moment, like kind of thing, like whatever feels good at the time?
I usually make a set list, but sometimes I'll change it depending on how things are going. But usually I'll make a set list because I'm usually playing with Gord. My partner is the sax player.
Yeah.
And I want to keep it a different set every week because we have a lot of the same people coming back, and then we get random new people, every week too, which is cool.
So yeah, it's always good to get more, because I figured the more you put out, the more your name gets out, and people will gravitate towards your show or your channel, which is always a good thing. Yeah, and
doing the weekly thing. I mean, it's just been it's been fun to do it. It's another thing I was very skeptical at first. Was like, oh, everybody's doing live streams. I'm not.
Yeah.
I shouldn't bother. But I was just like, oh, like, what else am I gonna do? There's like,
because that's my thought too. Is like, I mean, no one can get out right now to go to actual shows. So why not them come to you? And that's great because I've seen Avatar, I've seen Demon Hunter virtual concerts. They were amazing.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And there's all kinds of different styles of doing it. Like I've seen really high production value, glossy live streams that people do with like lots of cameras and like basically a crew. And then there's just like, me in front of my camera. And I think they're both great because there's like one is super intimate and one is like very visually interesting. And, it's like whatever you do, just do something.
Right. Yeah. Cool. I don't think it matters about how you get to show, whether it be multi-camera or just straight ahead like I'm talking to you right now. It just matters about getting the music out and sharing it with the world. So that's all that matters. Yeah,
I've spent a lot of time on YouTube with Hate56 videos, and they're not. I don't think he's. I take that back. I think he is doing some live streams now, just based on the state of the world. But that guy's really been going through his catalog of things he filmed over the last several years, and it's just really, it's really nice to go back and watch that to remember what it was like to go to a show, to be amongst people, and like the moshing and the like as much as we hated, like. I mean, we've all been there. We're standing there and we're like, oh my God, get off me, dude. You're so sweaty. Stuff like that.
Making you go back there again. It's like, yes.
I would love to experience it again. I want the sweaty dude up against me, cramming me in this little tiny space and the band just like blaring in my face. I want to be next to the PA and this like ringing in my ears. I miss that.
I want to have no hearing and no voice the next day.
The next day, I want to
be miserable. Exactly. Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually, I guess.
Yeah.
So you have one album, Waking Up the Dinosaurs, correct?
Yeah.
And then you have 2 EPs.
Yeah.
Vivienne Wilder and Post Traumatic.
Yeah. Post Romantic. Yeah.
Post-romantic. I just realized
the next one should be called post-traumatic. That'd be
okay. A follow-up thing.
Yeah.
So yes, that's right. Which was released June 12th. And then 4 singles, Ricky, Never Lovers. So with so many songs under your belt now, do they all represent like a different time in your life?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's kind of tied to what we were talking about earlier about having to evolve to keep things interesting for yourself and make sure you're still inspired. So, like, if you were to listen to those 3 records in a row, it would be pretty obvious what had happened to my sound because it starts out very folk and country, and then Waking Up the Dinosaurs, suddenly it's like rock and punk and alt country with a little bit of folk thrown in at the end. And then Post Romantic is like rock and alt country, and then sort of like alt pop or something. I'm not exactly sure about that one, but
a little bit of everything, right?
Pardon me?
I said you got a little bit of every kind of genre in there.
Yeah, and I think like there's definitely, you can see sort of like the progression of how my interests have changed and how my writing has changed over the years, because that's almost all over the course of 10 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I've got a new record coming out this year too.
Nice.
We'll probably really drop a single in the summer, I'm thinking, but and that the newest one is like pretty straight up punk rock for half of it, and it's a lot. And we went into the studio for that one in September because there was like this window in Toronto where you were allowed to do stuff like that again, although still had to wear masks and stuff in the studio. But I went in with like my band that we used to play like all the time before this, and just tried to like it's basically a live record just to capture what we had. So it's got a really different feel to it, because it's not a studio record in that way where you like record everything separately and layer it all up, which is how most music is made these days. So I'm excited to release that, because it's really high energy, and I think it's going to be cool as like a statement.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we just got one more question for you.
Sure.
And it's about your most recent EP called Vivienne Wilder, your name. Right. So I'm looking at the cover of your art of your album, and I think it's fantastic. It's like your face with the deer antlers.
That's my first EP. Yeah.
All right. Right. Yeah. So So what was the inspiration for this album that came out in 2012?
Right, so that was my first solo record, and I had just gotten off the road from touring with a folk band for several years. I'd gone all over the world with them, and I was just into the idea of like the antlered girl. It's kind of complicated because there's like this, it's actually like this Victorian image of people who have antlers being people who were cheated on. So that was part of it. And then I was like in my early 20s, and I don't know, around that time it seemed like there was a lot of antlered girl art and stuff for some reason. I don't know, 2012.
Well, I just wanted to ask you about that because the cover really stood out. I'm like, I wonder what was her thought process during this album.
Yeah, and because I've done all my own album art for everything so far, and I also I don't know. For some people, I think it's cool, but I'm not always a fan of like the standard beauty shot of the artist on the cover, which it's an easy sort of go-to, I guess. And maybe some people prefer it because they like to know what the artist looks like. But I also kind of wanted to this is my first record. I want maybe to put my face on it, but I want to obscure it somehow. So it's like heavily filtered, and I gave myself antlers as though I'm like a deer who's been mounted on the wall.
People something to talk about. Like I wonder what this sounds like. Let me get it and then see, pop it in the CD player whenever we had CDs way back when. So.
I still listen to CDs.
I still have a booklet the size of like a tackle box. It's huge. It's
full of that CD.
All these
CDs.
And I don't want to get rid of them. And it's ridiculous because I just got a Spotify account, and I've spent the last few weeks liking all these songs just so I can get in the car and hit shuffle and just have something play. And I'm like, if I was to go through all of my CDs, this number would increase drastically. This is just like stuff I'm listening to recently that I can think of. Like what happens if I really dig into it? So you said you do the album artwork yourself? Yeah. That I love the cover of Waking Up the Dinosaurs.
Thank you.
I love it. It's like I don't know. It's just it really it stands out. See, I love album artwork that stands out. I like the artwork that catches my eye. I can't tell you how many albums I've gotten into just because I thought the covers looked cool.
Oh yeah, me too. That's what I really missed about going to a record store, right? Because like I brought home so many things growing up. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, and
generally it works out.
Yeah, and usually it does. And I mean, it's like death metal bands have all these really grotesque, obscene album artwork, but
amazing,
and you're
beautiful
like,
art.
cool. You listen to it, and you're like, this band sucks. But you're still drawn to it, and at least they caught your attention.
Yeah.
But I love the album artwork for that. It looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you kind of touched on this subject earlier. So according to you, there will be a new album coming out in the near future.
Yeah, later this year for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are we able to ask you the name of the album yet, or is it
right now? I mean, it might change, but hopefully not. It's called "I Don't Believe."
Nice.
A working title.
But yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, that sounds interesting. So I'm definitely gonna pick it up when it comes out. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I will let you know.
Yeah. I have one more question. I know James said that was our last question. I do have one question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So COVID obviously has impacted a lot of people with your writing. I like to ask this question for anyone who writes a lot of their own music, like it being confined to the walls of your home, has it been inspiring? Like, do you find it easier to write music?
No,
or is it more of a struggle?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, for many reasons too. One of it being like when you're just doing the same thing every day, and it's very mundane stuff. That's a problem. Yeah. And then just the space and the privacy thing, because now my partner and I are always home together, and it's not like I feel shy because I do write and spend time doing that when he's just in the other room, but there's a next level of digging into it where it's you want to be more isolated. So at least for my process anyway. Yeah. So I have still managed to write some stuff and to finish some things, but it's definitely been significantly less than before for me. Yeah.
Cool.
But hopefully that just means there will, and I know a lot of artists that I'm friends with have, they feel the same way, have experienced the same thing. So hopefully when this is over, it'll just be a rush of, relief and then creativity as a result. Just change and good news, and
I wonder if a lot of people find it during this time when they write music, if it's more just given the state of the world and everything you hear about on the news, if they find their songs being more depressing, I guess. You know what I'm saying? That's all you're really getting fed. So it's all you can really feel at this moment. So I wonder if that's a big motivation for or maybe not a motivation, but inspiration for songs that are kind of more down, are in the next few years. Is that going to be a majority of the kind of music that we get from multiple people, just based on this time period where we're all confined to our homes? And me and James like to talk about this on this show in particular, but we both kind of struggle with depression, and
hey, me too.
So you can relate. So music, is something that helps us get through that.
Yeah.
Is there any song in particular that is your go-to whenever you're really feeling down? I can't seem to get through this feeling. I've got to go listen to such and such.
Right. That's hard. The first thing that came to mind though was Cigarettes After Sex. Nothing's Gonna Hurt You, Baby. I love that song so much. That song just feels like a hug whenever I put it on. So maybe that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I'm always looking for new music to listen to, and I'm definitely gonna check that out because it means so much to you. So I'm definitely gonna check that out. So.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on, and to our listeners, you can catch Vivienne Wilder on Instagram YouTube. Do we have a Twitter or TikTok yet?
I've got Twitter. It's
Okay.
Vivi Wilderness.
Okay.
So VIVI Wilderness. And
Nice.
I am on TikTok, but I haven't posted anything.
Okay.
And that's just Vivienne Wilder. But I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
Gosh,
TikTok
darn it. I'm gonna
beast,
do
man.
it.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm really
I'm like,
behind.
oh gosh, this makes me feel old. But
All right, yeah. But that's okay.
My niece is 12 years old and she absolutely loves TikTok, and I haven't figured it out yet. So I feel like a dinosaur whenever she's trying to show me these videos, and I'm like, yep.
So everybody, thank you so much for listening, and make sure you catch Vivienne Wilder on Friday at 4:30 p.m.
4:20
Eastern.
4:20.
We
got it wrong.
This is arbitrary number.
Almost had it. Yeah.
And we usually play until about 6. So
nice.
Cool.
So even if you can't go for the whole thing, you can drop in for a song or two. We'll be there. Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate you coming on and taking time to talk music and
I appreciate you asking me to do this. It's been nice.
So we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do a follow-up or something later on in the year.
Sure.
Yeah, because Blake wants everybody to come back on, and being out again playing against fans, we just want you to come back on and tell us about what that was like and everything.
Yeah, so, for sure. Maybe
that's been a big thing. Like everyone we've talked to that's talked about not being able to play shows right now. I want to know, what does it feel like after being off stage for over a year? Like, strum the first chord of the first song of the first show back post COVID, and what's it like? What does that feel like? So.
It's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So
cool.
So this episode might go out next week. I will let you know for sure.
Yeah, just let me know and I'll repost it.
Sure. Yes, ma'am. So thank you once again. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. You guys have a good night.
You too. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.